Hello, everybody. Welcome to the OCRP. Now with the ARCA series. Changes every single season. But we have the ARCA series here tonight with some familiar faces that you know as we have the Daytona 250 by Thrustmaster as our season opener. And we have 7 minutes right now. They're in qualifying, and we are going to get some of those qualifying people out on the track, which they are already turning some laps right now. One of those drivers being that 22 of Alex Reno, making his return here again in Season 11. And the ARCA Menards Chevy right there, and the AC Delco 22. And we will be getting some other things here for you, including who is on the pole right now. That is Eric O'Neill in the 37. And then some more familiar faces we've seen before. We got Nick Sargent. We got Jeffrey Spells. We got Jason Lance, Joel Brown. We got SIV Ryan. We got Bearder. We got Steinhoff, Webb, and Ogle in the top 10 right now. But remember, this is Daytona and it's plate racing, so it's going to come down to everything at the end of their race. It's going to be bumper-to-bumper action here all night long at Daytona as we get underway. And we're going to keep that up and running right now. Some other drivers out there on the track that hadn't made their times yet. One of those drivers, there he is right there, 67 of Leonard Fodoro. What an incredible season he had in 10, and here he is again tonight for season 11. Our last season winner, Wes Graham, he's not on the track as of right now, but he has, I don't think he's put a time down yet. We have 5 minutes left in here, so a lot of guys running out of time who want to qualify. A lot of guys maybe not going to qualify, and that's just simply because, hey, why not? There's Ryan Steinhoff on pit road right there. We got somebody out there that came to a stop there. That was the 78 of Mitchell Calvin. And that is going to end things right there for qualifying, as we're going to be moving into the last 5 minutes of race control, talking to everybody. And then from there, we should be golden as far as all of that goes. I don't believe we have any the driver talk on or anything like that, so I shouldn't hear anything, hopefully. However, this is on the new setup, and there will be some flubs here tonight. I am certain of that. Well, my name is Jeff Favignano. Next week, I'll be joined by Mr. Joe Cortez, and he will be here in the booth, and we'll get things rolling this season. Now, I don't have the season schedule or anything like that up in front of me, and we don't have it for the graphics here tonight. Unfortunately, it just is what it is, so we're going to roll with it as we see fit. Weather? Well, today it is daytime in the simulator, and it is 73 degrees, but the track temperature right there, 122. So once these cars start to, wear that tire out a little bit, even though it's Daytona and it's plate racing, those cars will start getting loose in the draft, especially off the corners, and we're going to be keeping an eye on that. Wind southeast 7 miles per hour, and when you look at Daytona, it's kind of at a nice angle from the northwest to the southeast, so winds being out of the southeast there, that's going to be slamming the cars. It's going to be hitting the backs of the cars as they get off of turn number 2 all the way down the backstretch. Now it's out of the east, now it's 6. So it's going to be changing up a little bit there. But now it doesn't seem like it'll be too bad. So just some variable winds happening there as far as weather goes. So let's talk about the car tonight. The ARCA Menards car has been in the iRacing. It's been in the iRacing service for a very long time. It's one of the free cars that come with it. And there's so many guys that start off in their oval racing in that particular ride. I believe it's the free car. I don't remember what their whole structure is anymore. I don't keep up on the on that end of it. For all of you that are joining us here live tonight on twitch.tv/jfavignano, welcome on in. Thank you so much. Who's ready for some racing tonight? Any picks out there for you guys? Let me know right now in the comments and in the chat. I'm used to, I'm a YouTuber, used to the comments in the chat, and we'll see who can get it done. Now, keep in mind, we had a lot of drivers absolutely unhappy with the next-gen car and complained about it so much. So we're in a new car. They don't have anything else to complain about, I hope. But I will greatly miss it, the next-gen car and the racing it provided. Now, we don't know what to expect out of this car. They chose some tracks that are not your typical short tracks that you would see with these cars, and that's going to make a big difference in who we see out front. Now, tonight, it's a roll of the dice. It's Daytona. It's going to be bumper to bumper, and it's going to be all about the draft and who's going to actually make those moves to get to the front of the track. Because if you're not making those moves, you're going to be stuck in the back. And I can tell you firsthand experience in sim racing and at this track and in this style of racing. Sometimes it's not the best to ride in the back because it's hard to move forward if nobody wants to get up there and run a second line. So keep that in mind, and we will be underway here shortly at Daytona. And welcome back to Daytona once again. 32 drivers are signed up to get it done. Only 22 drivers made an effort for qualifying. And I will talk about the drivers that didn't as we're getting ready to start here and get everybody on the grid. And your pole sitter, Eric O'Neill, tonight, trying to make a name for himself once again. Once people start loading into the actual sim, we can get a look at it. Here they all are on pit road, and we'll get your starting grid for you here shortly. We're going to change this session timer over to the lap counter. 100 laps around here tonight, 250 miles around this track. And Daytona is an interesting one. 2.48 mile track, 100 laps here, and track temperature only dropped 1 degree, 121 that is. So, all right, we're going to get your starting lineup here shortly, soon as they give the pace truck driver the go-ahead to go out on the track and get things rolling. It'll be one caution lap around here under yellow before we start the race, and once we get back around, it's very different. We will have a restart zone. The Geico restart zone is a thing in iRacing now, and it is an important one. The person that is the control car, so Eric O'Neill in that 37 car, he's going to have to make the decision, hey, am I going to go am I going to go before the flagman? Because if you go before the flagman throws it, you're going to get disqualified. We've seen that so many times. Black flag, then they have to drop and serve the penalty. Another thing to watch is on restarts, you're going to have to be very careful to not pass that leader when you're double file on the restart on the backstretch under caution. Because if you go past them on the backstretch, you will get a black flag for that. You can't do it. The advantage does go to the control car, the leader, just like in the real world. And it's very, very cutthroat here in iRacing. So keep that in mind. We might see some penalties if drivers not used to that, as we got a lot of them here tonight. Now, let's talk about guys that didn't qualify. There's quite a few of them. That was Ryan Potter, Jonathan Orendorff, Brandon Buggs, Charles Gray, Andrew Ewing, then Aaron Beaver, Kyle Cleveland, Tyler Thomas, Ben Tuttle, Guzman off track as of right now. And there goes the 37 of Eric O'Neill. Finally going to be able to get that thing rolling straight as they get off of pit road here. And we'll get your starting grid right here on row number 1 on the pole. Eric O'Neill on the inside, and then the outside is going to be Nick Sargent in the 48. In row number 2, Clint Spells and Jeffrey Spells, the Spells brothers in the Hooters Ford Tauruses. Looking good right there. Row 3, Jason Lance and Joel Brown. Row number 4, SIV Ryan and Clayton Cyrus in the 05. Row number 5, Robert Bearder and Ryan Steinhoff. Row number 6, Mason Pepper and Robert Webb. Joe Ogle and Mitchell Calvin will be in row 7. Row number 8, Nick Gould and Alexander Reno. Row number 9, Tyler Schultz and Gage Bookman. Row number 10, Austin Johnston and Kyle Carpenter. Row number 11, Wes Graham and Leonard Fodoro. Row number 12, well, that was it. Everybody else that didn't want to take times and all that stuff, it's going to be a whole mess back there anyway, so we're not really worried about it. But the lights are off on the pace truck. You can see drivers all excited to get Season 11 on its way here in the ARCA series for the OCRP iRacing League. And they're cleaning those tires off, ready to get rocking and rolling. Remember, gotta watch that flagman. And I also want to ask you viewers that are on Twitch right now live, if it is too loud or too low as far as the audio goes, be sure to let me know, and I can move that on the fly. But the pace truck's down and away. We're getting ready to kick off Season 11 right here at Daytona. And the Geico Restart Zone waiting on the flag, man. There's Barney in the air. Green flag in the air at Daytona. Two by two all the way back as some guys staying on the outside lane, and that's going to matter here. They're getting a feel for the cars next to the other drivers. A lot of guys that haven't been behind the wheel of these cars in a very long time. They drive a lot different than what we've seen in the last season. Eric O'Neill charging out front right now, and we got one of the Spells brothers at the very bottom pushing on the back of that 37, and it's a fanned out mess behind them. They're all trying to figure it out, but the outside lane is cooking. Got some movement back here. That 43 car right there is Joel Brown. We know Joel Brown from the last season. A lot of guys in new colors. It's going to take a while to get used to them, but no incidents so far. We complete a lap here, and now it is starting to feel like we're watching a race at Daytona for these cars. An onboard shot right there. You can see just how crazy it can be for some of these drivers, and we also have the old roof cams to look at as well. And right there, we're going to see that a lot tonight. Now, that's a bad problem. The 37 of Eric O'Neill had a little bit of a connection issue there and blinked right in front of that other driver there that we're going to try to figure out who that is in the 86. That's Jason Lance. I believe so. Yes, in new colors as well. Going to take a while. Oh, we got a car way off. That is Eric O'Neill, and he's dropping like a rock. He's in the grass. Hang on to it, Eric. We're still green. I'm trying to grab it there. He's getting back in line. Everybody's going to shuffle to the outside. Heartbreaker for the 37, and I'm not sure what happened there. Hard to say, but he's going to give up that lead to Nick Sargent and Clint Spells up there now. And we got a car on the wall back here. That's Zachary Guzman there in the Barbie Chevy. And back up front, Clint Spells has got a side-by-side battle with a 48 of Nick Sargent. Very surprised to see a lot of these drivers not electing to go into a single file. They are going to instead stay side by side and make that outside lane work. That's what we want to see. That's how you get to the front. If you wait too long in the back, you're going to get caught up in a wreck in the middle. And that's good right there. We got a car on the bottom. That is Brandon Buggs in that 81 Liquid Death Chevy trying to get the car back up to speed. Not sure what happened to him there, but he's going to make it back out onto the track. And we got big mess here. Big crash. So many cars involved. That's going to throw the caution out. And now that feels like Daytona. Man, it didn't take very long. Lap number 4, and we got a big one. that might work out in some of these drivers' favors that were about to go down a lap there, or did. Oh, watch out for the ARCA braking. The brothers right there, they got to watch each other. Good job by hitting the brakes there. And they will get back situated. And we're going to try to get the replay up for you here if we can. Because that was a bad mess that we saw right there, man. That was no bueno. Back it up here, and we were watching in the back there, and then everything just kind of broke loose right here in the front. Looks like it might have been Jeffrey Spells possibly pushing on the back of his brother Clint here. Hard to say. We'll get a replay here. Yeah, he just got into him. He goes sideways right in front of him. You know, you're all the way in front of the field right there. There's nowhere to go. He comes down into... That was the 43 there of Joel Brown. Man, look at the 13 up on the nose. I believe that was SIV Ryan, yep, in the 12 car, and he gets knocked around by the 05 of Clayton Cyrus into the wall. That's going to be heavy damage to his car. And that matters because here at Daytona, you need to have, you got to have aero. So let's back this thing up again, and we'll watch this from the blimp camera. They probably saw everything from up here. And you can see right here, there's the 13, just not square push on the 31, gets him sideways. We've seen that happen in the real world a lot with this style of racing, and it's no different here. So, you know, the difference of the noses compared to the backs of these cars, you can't push on them that hard. And you can see how many cars were caught up at the 12, trying to get out of there and just nowhere to go. 05 gets into him, and then it was just absolute craziness behind him as these guys were still going, trying to avoid the wreck. But right back here, you got the 04, or so you got the 4 Bearder there, got caught up in that wreck as well. We're going to back it up and see what they saw. They're all the way in the back, and this is what it's like to, you know, to be on board with a car like this. And we're going to get Robert Bearder here, actually, if we can, and right on board with him during this crash. And that's a crash at Daytona. You see there's still a wreck in there. He's trying to get in the brakes there to not hit him, but what can you do? It was an absolute mess. And Robert Bearder will get service done to his car, and we'll get caught up with where everybody is after that whole mess. The lights are still on the pace truck as of right now. And right now, your top 10, Sergeant Lance Gould Graham, Cleveland Beaver, Steinhoff Gray, and then you've got Andrew Ewing and Joe Ogle rounding out the top 10. Look at that. Who won in that whole thing? Well, didn't take up time. Well, that would be the 88 of Wes Graham right there. What a great great start there. 21st up into 8th, and just because he avoided the wreck, that's all it takes right there to make your way forward, you know, and that's last season's champ. Definitely knows his way around a plate track. We've already seen a big one. It doesn't get any bigger than that whenever you have somebody out front, you know, that spins in front of the field. And with the new damage model on these cars, it's a lot more forgiving in some ways, but in some others, it's going to be harder on the driver because you can knock that thing out of tow. It's going to be really hard to keep that going. You get a little bit of aero damage. You're not going to have the speed that you had early on, and then you're going to have to play catch up the rest of the night. So hopefully that won't happen for these guys, but that's going to put Nick Sargent out front as of right now. And let's talk about fast repairs because we got a few drivers that had to use them. One of them, Leonard Fodoro in that 67. A lot of you guys know Leonard Fodoro there. And then Mitchell Calvin, Mason Pepper, Robert Webb, Ben Tuttle. Then we got Tyler Schultz. We had Eric O'Neill. Everybody's moving around right now, so it's hard to say. But pretty much everybody behind them, Clint Spells, Joel Brown, Jeff Spells, Jonathan Orendorf, and then Brandon Buggs has used a fast repair as well. So you get 2 fast repairs, basically a do-over here in iRacing, and that is what these guys were hoping to not have to use so early on in the race. It's only lap 7 of 100. It's probably time to settle down, and we might see some guys like bail out of these situations that we saw earlier and start running a single file. Back up front right now, we talked about the Geico restart zone. Well, it's going to matter here because that's going to be Nick Sargent in that 48 car that will be leading the charge through there. And you got to watch Jason Lance in the 86. He cannot pass that 48 by any means here on the restart until after that 48 has indeed gone in the Geico restart zone, which they're almost to right now. There's the Geico restart zone. The 48 gets going. Green flag back in the air. And we're going to crank it up on this one. Listen to the sounds of Daytona. Just watch it right around here. Good racing all over the place, but out front, that was a great run, and that's going to put the 12 of SIV Ryan in a position to get that. Everything changed up right there on that restart, and now the 11 car of Kyle Cleveland pushing on the back of the 14. That is going to be helping him out quite a bit. We're trying to find out who that is. I believe that's Nick Gould there in the 14. New colors. I actually have to look at my scoring sheet for it. Side-by-side action out front right now, completing lap number 10, and they'll be lap 11 of 100 so far, and it's starting to spice up a little bit. They're still side-by-side. Lots of racing to go. Oh, car almost got in the wall there. That was the 7 car. And that could have been a bad situation there for Mason Pepper, and we got a car spinning. Wes Graham got through it. Mitchell Calvin, Leonard Fodoro involved. Big crash. And we just got everything rolling. And now we're back under caution. Let's find out what just happened there, because there were so many cars involved, as it happens to be. Looks like it was right in front of him. It looks like Jason Lance gets turned. That 86 car, Jason Lance, we got to find him. Here he is right here, and watch. It's one of those situations where it looks like the 88 got checked up, and then he had no choice but to get in the brakes, and this, well, the 87 didn't get the memo there, got into the back end of the 86, and around they go. And the reason why the car sounds so different each lap, especially when we, bring the volumes up, oh man, just absolute ARCA brake. Lots of damage to that 86, and that was a 43 of Joel Brown. Just didn't get the heads-up display working there, and went right into him. That was a hard crash right here, and you can see the new damage model in being working out. Hard to say what you ever want to call it right here, but man, yeah, the 43 just really trying to stop there. Huge crash. The 81 of Brandon Buggs hitting the brakes, trying to avoid him. Kind of nowhere to go right here. And I believe he gets a little piece of the 43 as well. Yep, and that's going to be nose damage on the 81. Only 2 fast repairs in this season, and, well, similar to what we saw last season, but we got to watch this one from the blimp, because, man, so many cars immediately just, not that blimp. There's our blimp. Taken out of the race so quick. Well, they're not out of the race. A lot of these guys haven't used their fast repairs yet, so they do have another mulligan here. There's the 86 going up into the wall, and he just gets absolutely clobbered. There's the 67, and Leonard Fodoro gets turned. But right here, just the whole back end did not hit the brakes for that crash. And you can see a lot of drivers with so much damage there. Let's back it up here, and we're going to ride on board with Joel Brown to see what he saw during all that, because that was just not, was no bueno. There's the crash right there. You see the smoke. They're in the brakes. He just didn't see him. And it's over just like that. And he's on pit road right now getting his car repaired. Lots of damage all over the nose there. And Joel Brown does have a fast repair. Not sure what he's doing there, but out front, where it counts, that's the 12 car of SIV Ryan. We'll be back with more action at Daytona. Two by two, lights are off on the pace truck. One to go before we go back green flag racing. And, you know, we thought we would see these guys kind of take it easy early on and get in a single file, and that has not happened. Everybody has been going for it, 2 by 2, all the way to the front and back. We've seen guys bail out of that situation, but some guys that have been on the move, well, that is some familiar faces, and one of those is Leonard Fodoro. He got caught up in that little accident right there. To see Leo after starting 22nd, now in 15th. And there was some speculation whether or not the 81 had to come down pit road, which we saw the 81 hit pit road, and he has not used. No, he has used the last fast repair, so that's all he's got. Now it's time for that 81 to ride in the back and just avoid any crash he can to start making moves at the end or start moving forward. That's your only two options you have. But if we see the impatience that we have seen out of some of these drivers tonight, well, things will be a little bit different. Geico restart zone. SIV Ryan in the house, and he's green. Still 2 by 2 action right there. Nick Gould getting the push from the 11 of Kyle Cleveland. That is one of the Spells brothers in the 31 right there. Clint Spells right behind him in that 11. But look at that. We got the 77 of Kyle Carpenter up in the mix. And Kyle Carpenter starting there towards the back. Had a great run so far. Been staying out of trouble as much as he possibly can here. Not using any fast repairs yet. And he's on the back bumper of the 12. Takes a whole lap for these cars to get up to speed, and they just now are at full speed. At 77 to Carpenter, very, very smooth at the wheel, and that's what you have to be when it comes to a track like Daytona. It seems so silly to just be driving in a circle and, you know, especially being next to each other the way that you see it here. But it takes a lot of skill, actually, to wrestle these cars because you have the arrow push off the side of the cars, hitting these cars. You see them swimming back and forth. And we might have a 3-wide situation, and we do. I think that's Robert Webb stuck on the outside with no help right now, and that's going to be Clint Spells in the middle, 3-wide still. It's going to get dicey. They're going to stay 3-wide towards the front right now, and Spells up in the mix, 3-wide still. He's going to have to make a decision here to drop to the bottom and follow that 77, but that's not going to happen. Still 3-wide. Nick Gould deciding to jump out of that one, and it's probably for the best. And the 91 of Webb now going to be 3-wide, making it 3-wide there, and that is... It's getting crazy. Kyle Cleveland as well. Almost got in the wall there, and now a new person has entered the chat, and that's 78 of Mitchell Calvin up in the mix. Still 3-wide right behind him. And I got to say, you know, 3-wide action in previous seasons, that could never happen at Daytona. And you can just see how far along these drivers have come. Robert Wood with an aggressive move to jump the outside, and Spells is around in the 13. Hang on to it. Oh, and the 81's involved. That's going to take him out. The 88. And there you have it. We saw a lot of 3-wide racing early on, and that is exactly what happens. We'll back it up right here, and we'll see what happened, but it's just one of those things when you're pushing on the back of a car like that, and these cars do not like it. We've seen it time and time again, and this was no different right here. You'll just see how violent this crash was. Looks like the 16 of Ben Tuttle just gives the shot, and we saw the similar thing happen to the Spells brothers early on in the race. And you can see the damage on the right front there, and that was a little net code that fixed it. Guy's trying to avoid him. The 81 gets into him, 86, and the 86 gets down on the 88 of Wes Graham, trying to avoid that crash as well. A lot of net code happening right there, actually, with the damage. And it looks like Guzman was able to get through there no problem. And a very similar situation we saw earlier. Here it is again. 16 just right there turns him. Just a series of unfortunate events. That's what that is right there. And we will ride on board with Wes Graham. He saw it all happen right in front of him, and wasn't a whole lot he could do at speed. Well, that's going to bring the 88 down onto pit road right now, and Wes right now hasn't used any of his fast repairs. He does have 2 of them. He misses his stall just by a little bit, and he's going to get that car fixed and back on its way. Out front right now, well, things have changed up quite a bit. Your top 10. Got SIV Ryan there in the lead. That'll be the 8 car of Tyler Thomas getting his lap back there as a lucky dog. But SIV Ryan, Clint Spells. Then you got Robert Webb. And Clint Spells there had the position when the yellow flag came at. And there you go. He's right now in the 2nd position. Robert Webb, Kyle Carpenter, Nick Gould, Nick Sargent, Mitchell Calvin, Mason Pepper, Charles Gray, Bearder, Cleveland. Well, Cleveland's in 11th right now, but Bearder will round out your top 10. We've seen a lot of aggression, a lot of 3-wide racing I didn't expect to see so early on, and that might have been a disaster, but it wasn't. Caution didn't fly from the 3-wide racing. Instead, it came from just the aggressive pushing, and that's going to set, you know, the bar for tonight. A lot of these guys now know, hey, we can't be pushing on each other like we could before. These cars don't like it. You can see that nose and just the shape of it. Like I said, doesn't match up very well to the back bumper. And you roll that thing left and right on the back bumper a couple times. That's all it takes. And you saw that 13 get spun around. The 30, sorry, not the 13, but instead Clint Spells in the 31. And I'm confused by that because Clint Spells used to be the 6 car. Lights off on the pace truck. Will be green flag racing next time by 21 of 100 complete. We'll be restarting on lap 22. SIV Ryan in the 12 car will be your control car in the Geico restart zone. One of the bigger moves we've seen tonight is that 91. Robert Webb started 12th, and he's moved up to the front. But, man, he's been making some very aggressive moves, very similar to what we've seen out of Ricky Stenhouse in the real world. And the moves that he's made on the track looks very similar. But, man, it's been working out for him. Pushing him 3 wide, he gained like 3 spots just by taking that position. And unfortunately, you either dump out of the gas and you get ran over from behind, or you try to find a hole that works and you go. And it's unfortunate for the guy on the outside that gets shuffled back, but that's just plate racing, and we can expect to see more of that. I don't know if we've seen all of that tonight. How about it, though? That 24/7 Chevy Impala SS in the front. Commentator from last season right here, leading everybody to the Geico restart zone. SIV Ryan. Green flag back in the air. Doesn't look like the 7 of Mason Pepper got a really good start there, and no helper as of right now, as these cars on the top are really close together and are pushing. They're taking it easy, though. You can tell they're not getting super aggressive with physical pushing of the car. And it'll take an entire lap for these cars to get up to speed on a 2-mile track like Daytona. 2x2 as far back as you can see. Nobody in a single file. At 31 of Clint Spells right there, a little side draft action on SIV Ryan. And he's going to jump back up with the help of the 77, Kyle Carpenter, being very, very cautious here in the early laps of Daytona. That's put him in this position. And you'll see a lot of guys that aren't used to running with each other, especially, you know, at a track like Daytona in a plate situation. A lot of guys we haven't seen before up here in the front. Still 2x2 as far as you can see back. These boys getting very aggressive with the side draft. We saw Clint Spells come all the way down on the door of SIV Ryan there to try to pull him forward. And what that does is when you get down there and you do that side draft, you're dumping all that air on that back spoiler and pulling the car back. It's like putting a big, huge weight on the back of his car, and there's nothing he can do about it when they do that. Saw some aggressive side drafting out of that 91 as well, as he was coming up a little bit of a half a lane, very squirrely behind the 12. Clint Spells up to the lead. And what a move that was. He got clear of the 12, and he'll drop down. And now we're going to the 77 to Kyle Carpenter. He's going to be making a move. And he will try to make that pass on the 31. He's got help from the 48 of Sargent. And Mason Pepper behind him. A lot of racing to go, just a quarter away through this race. And we're seeing some big moves out of Mason Pepper drop down there. And then that was the 14, and Nick Gould kind of bailed out of it, moved down. Trying to stay out of the mess. And they'll get through another lap without incident. Still 2x2. Oh, we saw somebody drop to the bottom there. That was Leo. I believe that was Fodoro right there that dropped down to try to get out of the top lane, and that's working out for him. Now the 38 will be able to jump up there in the mix. We're trying to find out who that is in that car. It looks like it's Gage Bookman in the 36 right there. Gage Bookman on the charge. Look at that. Good run for the 4 of Bearder. He's moved up into the 8th position right now and staying steady. This is the time where everybody just wants to get in a rhythm. One of those drivers that was earlier involved in that crash was Wes, and he is 20. He started 21st. He's been up to 4th right now. He's in the 17th position and trying to make track position up after that. And there's a change right there. The 31 got a nice push from the 12 of Ryan, and that's going to allow him to maintain the lead and drops the 77 back to the bumper of the 48. And Nick Gould right there trying to hang on to the back of that 91's bumper, and he's going to have some help here shortly from that 78 of Mitchell Kalman. And then Fodoro behind him, all in a line, trying to take it easy. A lot of aggression, a lot of good moves are being made up here in the top 5 for position right now. We've seen a lot of side-by-side action this whole race, but on top of that, man, oh man, it has been crazy with the amount of lead changes we're seeing. You want to know what it's like to be in the Hornets' nest? Let's ride on board with Leonard Fodorero in that 11th position. And that 14, Nick Gould jumps up a half a lane there out of the bottom. And that's kind of disrupting the flow. But you hear right there, Leonard Fodorero rolling in and out of that throttle. That is how you stay off the bumper of the guy in front of you. It's a real disciplined style of racing. And you're seeing it right here. Have a look right here at the RPMs and the speed we're seeing out of these cars. 193 miles per hour in the draft. And there he is jumping out of the throttle about 7,300 RPM. And that helps you. If you're the guy out in front, you're the one that's burning all the gas. And they're going to have to get around the 26 of Guzman. You can see all the movement of these cars on the backstretch right now. And we're going to have a 3-wide situation for the lead. Robert Webb with a move like that to get to the front. And here comes the 14 of Gould. Ryan's going to elect to stay on the bottom lane right there, and he needs help from that 78 to get a little bit closer to help push those cars forward. And it looks like the 31's going to jump to the outside now to try to grab the 14, but man, they are making time on the 26 of Guzman very quickly. We'll see what Guzman does here, if he's able to get down on the apron of the track or do something different here, because they are going to be at his bumper here shortly. Watching back there, Andrew Ewing having a great run so far as well. Started 27th. He's been up to 9th, and right now, he's staying right there in the 15th position. Back up front, we got a side-by-side battle happening there for second. And there is the 26. They have made it to that 26 car. We'll see if they make a... They're going to have to make a decision here really quick. The 31's going to have to jump up to the top. Everyone's going to have to split them or all run to the top. It doesn't look like that 26 is going to get down anytime soon, but he's going to have an opportunity here at pit road, and he will take it. Drags the nose in the grass a little bit there, but that keeps the racing going. Still side by side up front. The 91 of Webb getting help from the 12 now, but the 77 of Carpenter pushing on the back of the Spells car right there in that 31 Hooters Ford Taurus. It's getting dicey right here. Lap 33 will be 34 at the stripe. You can see how much movement we're seeing out of these cars. And that's going to be the 31 to jump there. Interesting what's happening there. I think that's a lot of side drafting we're seeing out of Spells there as he drops down. He's trying to maintain his lane on the top there so he can keep the push from the 77, but he's dropping down to try to get the side draft from the 91 to keep him propelled forward. And I'll tell you, one car is looking really pretty right now is that 78 of Mitchell Calvin. So no matter what, goes to show, you could have a 39 in NVIDIA 3090 card, an incredible machine, and iRacing will still do these stutters that it does during a race. Nothing we can do about that. No drop frames or anything like that. Things are still good on our end. A lot of guys starting to exercise some patience here. We're seeing that in the spacing of all these cars. Watching that 48 of Nick Sargent. After being up front, he was no stranger to that. And Clayton Cyrus is going to lose a position back here. Towards the back of this pack, you see the 13 of Jeff Spells there. There's Ewing, 22 of Alex Reno on the outside. And Joe Ogle up in the mix as well. Joe showing the 26 car in for what we see there, but he's the 55 car. Up front, still getting as hectic as it was when we left it. Almost contact between Robert Webb and the 31 of Spells. Ryan not going to have any of it. Side drafts the 31 to try to push him back up the track. He's going to be behind the 91 still. Nothing he can do about it. 77 gave the tap to the 31. I can see some of these guys in the top 4, top 5 here starting to make some decisions. Hey, do I want to be running behind the guy that I'm running? This is really aggressive right now. And we are on board right here with Spells. You see behind him, there's the 77, a Carpenter. And Ryan's going to get a nice run on him here. 31 comes down for the side draft, gets a nice run, gets the push from the 77 back up to the 91 of Robert Webb. He's going to side draft him again here and get away from him. Some good aggressive moves we're seeing out of the guys that we don't normally see up front. And they know, hey, you know what? This is my shot. This is the chance that I have to get a win this season. It's anybody's game at one of these kind of races. That's a plate race. And they know that. That's why you're seeing that aggression out of the guys that you don't normally see up front. We saw the 12 get a little squirrely there too. I think the tires are starting to go on some of these cars, and we're going to see them starting to slip a little bit there. And after the stripe right there, lap 39. Riding on board with Nick Gould right here. You hear him rolling in and out of that throttle that we were talking about. On the top lane, about 186, 187 miles an hour in the corner. We saw some more speed out of the other guys on the bottom there, about 192 earlier. There's about 190 on Gould on the outside. It has been anything but boring tonight for the season opener. And this is what we can expect to see out of this season. It is getting squirrely back here. A lot of these drivers have their hands full on these cars in the corners. And when you put, the addition of side drafting in the equation, well, it can spell out disaster. But we're seeing these guys doing a really good job of maintaining their positions. And they've figured out very early on that, hey, I can't push on the guy in front of me physically on his bumper. So I got to get as close as I can because that's where the speed is. But these guys that are taking the slower approach and keeping more of a gap to the car in front of the 7 is all over the place. And the 38. What a save by Mason Pepper in the 7. He almost had disastrous results out of that. And he'll get it going straight again. After he almost wiggled into the right side door of Leonard Fodoro. And that's the 38. A Bookman on the outside as well. Or the 36. I think I keep saying the 38 because that's what Sadler drove, I believe, back in the day. Kyle Carpenter now looking to the outside of the 31 as he was able to drop down in front of the 91 of Webb while we're watching all the action back there and grab the lead. And now Carpenter pushing forward, and he has the lead as of right now. Guys getting very tight on the exit of the corner, and you saw him all the way next to the wall there. Got to be careful to not smack that thing and come down into traffic. But a good job by the 77 of Carpenter. He knows his way around oval racing, plate racing, anything that is oval racing. We've seen great things out of that 77 car, and here it is again, doing exactly that. But don't count out guys like Ryan. Early on, wants to get a win. A lot of guys up front that we see right now in the top 5. Oh, everybody wants to win, but these guys know, hey, this is my shot for the season at a play track. I'm going to do the best I can. I wouldn't count any of those guys out right now. Anything can happen. Should be 56 laps to go at the line. So we have made it almost to the halfway point, 6 laps away. Well, it's as good as any time right now. Let's go ahead and let's get loud and listen to these awesome cars get around Daytona at speed. Kyle Carpenter holding on ever so slightly at the line once again. Maintaining the lead on Spells on the bottom there, but that's Dick Gould up right behind him in that 14 car. And he's giving a good push right now. He's been a great drafting partner for him. A lot of damage. Oh, the 67 almost lost it right there. Leonard Fodoro almost got sideways with that 3 wide separation. That was Ryan that got shuffled out. Now Mason Pepper will jump in front of him. The 12 trying to stay with the 7 to keep the draft rolling forward. But that could have been bad. We saw the 67 almost get sideways. Good save by Leonard Fodoro. And that's not going to be good for the 12. Not sure what happened there with the 12 as we were watching the Let's Get Loud segment there. Went from 3rd all the way back here and where he's at right now in 9th. And we're going to keep an eye on that mess. But up here in front, Clint Spells back to the lead on the bottom. He's had a lot of help from that 91 tonight. The 91, you can see the little bit of damage on the left side of his car. You can see that he's made contact with others. Very aggressive moves out of these guys in the front. And now the 31 will try to make another charge on the 77. I think once he gets clear of him, he might try to jump up there. But if he does that, it's going to leave the 91. The 91's going to leave them. Maybe making a decision to go up high. Nope, he's going to stay there for right now. Let's ride on board with him. You see that patience working in his favor. He knows once he gets clear of that 77, he can jump up there, and that's exactly what he's going to do, and so is the 67. A lot of guys coming down on pit road. Seeing green flag stops right now. The 48 is Sargent on pit road. Oh, the 7 gets turned by the 11. Kyle Cleveland gets into the 7 of Mason Pepper, and the 8 and the 11 both missed their boxes. On a green flag stop, that's not going to be good for those guys at all. And Mason Pepper will try to make it back around. We'll see if we have any more takers on pit road after this here. But look at this, the charge from the 12 of Ryan on the outside. And he does have a little bit of help there. That is the 16 of Ben Tuttle, but it's going to take a while for him to get up there. Might see that 77 jump up there and push the 12 a little bit. Anybody else coming down on pit road? Looks like it's going to be Andrew Ewing. He's going to come down. And we're not seeing anybody else. Oh, locks it up. Might have a speeding penalty right there. Gonna be really close there, but we got to watch up here. And there's the 36 of Bookman jumps out of line. And here comes Ryan on the outside of the 91, almost wrecking off the corner with the 31-91 as the others are trying to blend back into the pack here. And now they're going to have more lap traffic to deal with here. That's going to put Ryan back into the lead. We got a car on the wall there to try to keep it off. We got more guys coming down pit road, and that one of those is going to be the 77 of Kyle Carpenter. A lot of guys coming down pit road, trying to grab it. 31 of Spells on pit road. The 13 of Spells on pit road. The 77 as well. You can see here on pit entry, it is one heck of a swing to get that thing onto the pit road. And these guys are going to get service to their cars. Now, that is a fuel stop. We're just almost to the to those fuel windows of these guys in the front here. They're going to have to be making a decision to come down pit road. And seeing that we just got past halfway, it'll be a one-stop race if we stay green. And here they come, the 91, Robert Webb. Let's see if anybody else is going to come down on pit road as well. Looks like it just might be the 87, Charles Gray. He's going to decide to do it as well. Back up front, watching right around Leonard Fodoro. On the outside, he's going to have help from the 88. And here's all that lap traffic of the blending cars. And the leader of Ryan is going to have to make decisions here to get around all these guys. He does a good job of that. Now he's got to drop to the bottom to try to get around Ewing. He's got so much speed on these guys, almost puts it in the wall because the guys that are coming back on the track not giving them any room. And here comes some guys on pit road as well. It's getting hectic. Fight for the lead right here is between Ryan and Fodoro. The 16 to Tuttle, not for position here. And if I'm Ryan, I was not happy about being in a position like that, but you got to expect it. And now he's going to have help from that 88 of Wes Graham. Nice shot from the blimp cam here. You can see the difference in speed that these guys have on some of these others that are down a lap and are fighting to stay on the lead lap. They know the 12 car, once he's by him, it's going to be an issue of going down a lap, and they're going to be 3 wide right there with Robert Webb trying to get back in line, and they'll do exactly that. I think Ryan's just trying to stay out of the trouble of these guys, and he gets in the wall a little bit. This is probably where we're going to see that 12 car come down a pit road. That's going to give up the lead to Leonard Fodoro, and that's that push, you know, having those older tires. The car gets really tight on you on exit. He's trying to keep away from those guys and finds the wall instead. So we might see that 12 car coming down on pit road here shortly. And here's some takers. Fodoro, we got the 80. Oh, and he gets in the grass a little bit there. That's Fodoro on pit road. The 12 car on pit road as well. A lot of guys making their green flag stops. We'll keep an eye on who is where. Very busy pit road right now with the leaders. Ryan Steinhoff now going to be scored your leader as everything's going to cycle out here shortly. And you can lose this race on pit road, and you can win it on pit road. Good stops for those guys to get back on their way. Out front, in the lead, Ryan Steinhoff. Then you got Johnston and Ogle. Sorry, then Cleveland. Sorry, Joe Ogle is the next car in line there. The 11 car of Kyle Cleveland down a lap. Trying to fight for that position so he doesn't go down. And here comes the other guys we saw earlier, the leaders blending back on the track. So we'll see where everything cycles out here shortly in the next 5 laps. Watching Wes Graham, he jumped out of line there to let those guys go. He doesn't want to be a part of that right there, and that's probably a smart move right now as these guys are trying to get around a lot of the lapped cars and get back in position. And this is the 14th position right here, the 74 of Steinhoff. You see right behind him there. That is the leaders that are coming on the outside lane. That really slowed up the 88 right there, and that's going to give a lot of momentum for that 74 to get up there. They're going to be side. It gets in the wall. 16, a tunnel. Not sure what happened there, but the 16 definitely got in the wall there, and that created a little bit of a problem. And the 74 lost all of that momentum he had going for him for the lead. So right now, Steinhoff, Johnston, Orendorff, Beaver, Schultz, Potter, Lance, Ogle, Gould, and Carpenter rounding out the top 10. So right here, that's the 21 car of Johnston. That's the second position right there. And he's just about to lose the draft on the 11, but looks like he might scoop it up back here again. And Steinhoff is on the outside. He has no help. It's a matter of when these guys are going to get blended into this pack. But right now, everybody trying to stay on the lead lap. There's only currently 10 cars on the lead lap. Right there in 11th of Clint Spells. That's where the first car a lap down is. He is the lucky dog position right now, racing for it. And that's Joe. Sorry, that's going to be, Joel Brown on the outside in the 43. You just see how different the speed is when you have the draft and when you don't. So we're seeing Steinhoff right now has to be patient here because all these guys want they want to stay on the lead lap here. A little squirrely right there with the 21 of Johnston. I think the 88 got a little close to him right there. Might have even had a little contact. Or it just looks like they're fighting those cars quite a bit. Well, one thing is for certain. They're going to have to get around this guy right here. It's going to be tough. 3 wide to get around him. That is I believe that's Joe Ogle there in the 26, which is the 55 car, but he's in the 26 colors. And now we got a race up here in the front. That's Steinhoff and Johnston right behind him. Steinhoff, your leader on the outside in the 74 Next Level Racing Chevy. Or sorry, Dodge. So you got 2 Dodges pushing with each other right now. And then a line of Chevys behind them. With one Pontiac on the bottom. And since we've stayed green this entire time during the green flag pit stops, and we have smoke. Not sure where that was. Maybe somebody trying to get on pit road there. But since we are now cycled out in the green flag stops, anybody that had a bad stop, well, it's showing that showing it now. Guys we saw out front had a bad stop, like Ryan. Bad stop on pit road. After smacking the wall. He's lost a lot of track position. A lot of guys that were trying those pit strategies didn't work in their favor because they were slower on pit road than a lot of the guys that made it out. Like the 88 of Wes Graham. But even then, Wes Graham in P10 right now. And he's racing that 14 car there. That's for position. Doesn't feel like it because it feels like you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the cars here, but that's not the case. Well, all those guys that made it. Oh, here comes the 21. He's going to drop down and try to get a push from the 91 of Webb. And the 74 is going to come down to block that position. But that was an early on block. And that's going to have Joel Brown push on the back of the 88 of Wes Graham. As Wes is going to try to get by the 74. And it worked out in his favor. And 91 of Webb getting a little squirrely right there. We're keeping an eye on him behind that 74 car. And here he comes down pit road, Steinhoff. So these two right here, the 74 of Steinhoff and the 21 of Johnston, they were just going to go to the last drop they had in that car, and they are going to be on pit road for their fuel stop. And that is going to give up the lead to Ryan. Sorry, we'll find out in just a few moments who that's going to be. Because right now, all those cars are down a lap. So we have Austin Johnson, Aaron Beaver in the 97 on pit road as well, getting work done to his car. And then in fourth right now, it's Wes Graham. Wes needs to get all the way back around. This will be for the lead. You see right here, there's the 88 of Wes Graham trying to take that lead away from Steinhoff. Steinhoff all the way right here off of turn one. We'll see if it worked out in his favor, but they're coming quick. And Johnston will definitely get caught in that and lose quite a bit of positions off of it. But Steinhoff currently scored as the leader, and he has no help out front. He's by himself. Started 10th today, took a gamble on pit road. Brian Steinhoff has all of his fast repairs. He's been able to keep his nose clean all day. And if he can do this right, he's at speed, he can blend into this traffic, but it's going to be very hard. He's going to have to utilize that top lane of Webb or somebody up there because here they come. Wes Graham and company to the outside for the lead. They'll make quick work of that, but the 74 of Steinhoff's going to try to get back in line here as best as he possibly can. He's hoping for help. Nobody's jumping down to push him. And now he will get some help from the 48. He drops down. And now he'll be back in the draft with everybody else. So right now, after everything has been cycled out, you have Wes Graham, Webb, Sargent, Spells, Cleveland, Steinhoff, Gould, Carpenter, Ewing, and Johnston. As we stay green, almost to lap number 70 here. 30 laps to go with the stripe. It's a big, huge gap between the first set of cars and the second. And boy, oh boy, they would really love a caution right now to get everybody back together and get things excited. But I got to say, seeing some green flag racing and green flag pit stops here at Daytona, that is a fantastic start to the season. I know we had our big crashes early on. Everybody got the jitters out of the way. And now we're seeing some great racing out of these guys. Sorry, we were lap 69. That will be 70 there. Now 30 to go this time. Now 31 jumped on the outside to see if anybody's going to go with him. Still no help. Guys are going to have to decide if they're going to be patient here or they're going to be impatient and start pushing the outside lane. With 30 laps to go, I don't think it's a bad idea to start a second lane there and try to get it formed up before they get away too far here, because right now the single file, we got a tandem out front with the 88 and the 43. And the 43 is not for position. That's Joel Brown. He's just helping out the 88. That 91 Red Bull car is the one that you're watching there in second position. Here are more cars in the foreground there, and that will be something they're going to have to deal with eventually, as they will catch those guys that have lost the draft after that last set of stops we saw. But I got to say, you know, it really did pay off for Steinhoff to stay out as long as he did. Right now, he is scored in the 5th position, right behind Cleveland in that 11 car in 4th. And then Nick Sargent, Clint Spells, and then your leader, Wes Graham. So right now, any of these guys right here have a shot at this thing if they can try to get up there towards the front. And I can see those guys deciding to make those moves soon enough, but the 91 tried and had no help. So nobody wanting to jump out right now. These guys comfortable and just want to stay in line as of now. And Nick Gould out back right there, and that's Carpenter. You can hear how much they have to breathe these throttles. Now, they will be catching that lap traffic here shortly. Should change things up a little bit. And that's Fodoro. That's with the 22 there of Reno, then Fodoro and Mitchell Calvin all in a line. And they're going to hope to grab the tail end here. But that's going to put Fodoro and company down 2 more laps, or down 2 laps total. And that almost got into a bad situation right there. Now the 48 of Sargent jumps to the outside with the 11. They're trying to get it going. Here's a look at Kyle Cleveland. You can just see how smooth they are on the wheel right here. And that's where you want to be. Oh, he almost got hit right there. And almost turned, but a 74 gets turned. And the caution will fly. Ryan Steinhoff. Huge hit for him. And the caution comes out, and it's going to change up everything. Well, we saw things getting squirrely, and they did indeed get squirrely fast. Right here, the 74 gets the worst of that situation. And we saw it happen pretty much through the tri-oval, as there's almost a little bit of contact right between those drivers. And right here, you'll see it happen. There's the contact between the 22 of Reno and the 11 of Kyle Cleveland here, where they get it going straight again. And then it all breaks loose here because of the checkup. And the 91 of Robert Webb gets right in the back end of the 74 and sends him around. And that'll go into the door of the 67 of Fodoro. Good job by the 78 of Mitchell Calvin staying out of that mess. 74 locking it up right here. Almost gets into the 91. Looks like he barely did. And he was on for a ride from there. Try to get as little amount of damage as possible, but let's see how things shake out here. I wouldn't imagine anybody coming down on pit road. We're keeping an eye on those things there. But let's have a look here from the blimp camera, what happened. You see the contact between the 22 and the 11. It gets the 11 squirrely. He starts checking up. The 74 goes to the bottom. Decides, hey, not a good idea. The 91 in the back of the 74, and around they went. Not what you want to see after, you know, all the great moves that the 74 of Steinhoff did to get in the position he was in. And he will be currently scored in 9th, but guess what? He did a great job of keeping himself out of trouble there. He might come down pit road. We're going to see if anybody else is going to come down pit road, and I don't believe anybody outside of those guys are going to. Looks like everybody else is, though. And if quite a few more takers, why not? You know, get some fresh tires on that thing, snug it up a little bit. Because as of right now, that's going to, you know, be more laps on your tires, which is going to put you in a position of having a tighter car. So the 74 is down and away. Maybe a 2-tire stop there for some track position to maintain it. There goes Spells and Gould, Carpenter, Johnston, Cleveland, Sargent, Webb, then Bearder, then you got Lance, Guzman, Ewing, the 8 of Tyler Thomas. There's Charles Gray. I haven't seen much out of him in the 87, the 94, the DuPont, the 7, Mason Pepper, and then the other Spells brother on pit road still, and that's where they will shake up here. But let's keep an eye on Kyle Carpenter on this restart. We've seen great things on the restarts, good decisions out there all day. Kyle Carpenter's one to watch to bring this thing home. He's not new to this style of racing, and it takes a lot of patience to get up there. But what can you say about SIV Ryan? What a day he's had, right? Started 7th. He's been back to 21st. And now, after all of that nonsense, he finds himself in 2nd. So Ryan's back in the mix. And then how about your pole sitter? That would be Kyle Cleveland behind him. Let's take you through the field right now while we're under caution. Wes Graham in the lead, SIV Ryan in 2nd. Eric O'Neill started on the pole, and he's been back to 30th, but right now he's in 3rd, and that's where you want to be right now this late in the race. Clayton Cyrus in 4th, 5th to Aaron Beaver after starting 29th. Ryan Potter, haven't seen much out of him today. Right there after starting 23rd. Good job on pit road, and he will be rolling off here in 6th on the restart. 7th, there's Ryan Steinhoff getting back up in the mix. Clint Spells in 8th. 9th, Nick Gould, and rounding out the top 10, that's going to be Kyle Carpenter. Side by side, lights out on the pace car. We'll be restarting on lap 79 of 100. About to put things away. But before that happens, I don't think we have seen the crazy come out yet. And we're about to see aggression out of a lot of drivers up here in the top 10. And we saw it earlier in the race, so I would expect it again. You want to say a big thanks to Thrustmaster, as always, for being part of these Daytona 250 tonight by Thrustmaster here at Daytona International Speedway. All right, Wes Graham dropping it down into... Well, he's saving fuel. Shutting that engine off. The pace truck's going to be down and away this time. And that 88 of Wes Graham is going to be the control car into the Geico restart zone. Green flag back in the air. It's a really good jump on the 12 there. 12 taking it easy there, not wanting to pass the 88 and get a penalty. He has an opportunity to drop down in front of the 37. 37 maybe. 37's there, going to side draft a little bit. Almost runs him up the track. The 12 in a position where he's going to have to drop down, but he can't. The 05 of Clayton Cyrus is there, but everybody power on the outside, including the 77 of Carpenter, pushing on the back of Spells, and then in front of them, Kyle Carpenter is up there in the mix, and they're there. I was talking about Kyle Carpenter. Watch him on this restart, and we're seeing some great things out of him right there. One car that did not get going straight on that restart was the 05 of Clayton Cyrus. It's going to take him a minute to get back to the bumper of Eric O'Neill, but the outside is prevailing, and Ryan to the lead. He'll drop down in front of the 88 of Wes, and that's going to be Potter on the outside with help from the 31 of Spells. Two by two, and they're getting tighter as they go on here with all the side draft action we're seeing. With only 20 laps to go, it is expected, but right now, look at this, give him a lot of room. I would expect a lot more side drafting on the backstretch than we're seeing here, but right now, everybody's just kind of staying in line. Ryan doing a really good job staying patient. A good restart there. Was able to get around the 88, no problem. The 88 knows he's going to have to be in a position to pass him at the end. He wants to help and work with the 12 a little bit here, and that's what we're seeing. And Potter not able to stay directly behind the 31. And the caution comes out. Not sure what happened there, but might be somebody in the back. That's the 8 of Tyler Thomas. A lot of damage to these cars back here. So we haven't seen the end of the yellow flag here, and I think it's just only going to get worse as time runs out here in the end of this race. Let's see what happened here. Tyler Thomas, a lot of damage to that car, and Mason Pepper in the 7. They might have tangled here, but it looks like it happened in front of them. That was around Guzman where we saw things get really bad. Okay, right here is where it all went down. Looks like the 26 of Guzman holding his line. There comes the 8 of Tyler Thomas off the nose. There's not really much you can do there. A hard lick into the wall right here, and then it goes for a nice ride through here. And the aftermath comes from here. Hard crash. That was a 78 of Mitchell Calvin. You see right there, I don't know what happened there, but the 7 of Mason Pepper tried to get around all of it, it looked like here. And he dove to the bottom to try to avoid the 26. He's sideways, tries to gather it up, nothing he can do, right into the 78. So Mason Pepper used all of his fast repairs. Unfortunately, that's going to put him out of the race. So currently the cars we see off track are the 81 of Brandon Buggs, Gage Bookman of the 36, and now the 7 of Mason Pepper. Oh, looks like maybe he has a, he's going to use his last one here. Or no, he's going to get work done on the car the best he can. He's out of any other options at this time. But right now, that's going to be the 12 of Ryan back in the lead. We'll be back with more here at Daytona. You don't want to miss the end. And welcome back to Daytona. Right now, it's been absolutely anything but boring. Been an absolute roller coaster of a night. And right now, the 12 of Ryan is in the lead with a few more laps to go here. Well, more than a few, but it's winding down. You're going to see guys getting desperate here on these restarts. It's the only time you can make up all the positions you possibly can before getting on the backstretch and making it happen. But the driver we've seen doing a great job of that tonight is indeed the 12 24/7 Chevy Impala SS of Ryan. Lights are off on the pace. Truck will be green flag racing this time by. And that 12 car will lead them into the Geico restart zone as their control car. Green flag back in the air at Daytona. Graham made a quick decision to drop to the bottom, and it might work out for him here. That's going to 60 of Potter pushing on the back of him from there. Oh, and contact! The 88 involved. We got a big crash. A lot of guys involved. The 97 of Beaver. The 05 of Clayton Cyrus. It looks like it all happened with a little side draft action there. And that ended up terribly for everybody else. We're going to back things up and see what happened here. Is right around that 88 of Wes Graham. We're just seeing some impatience out of some of these guys. And it looks like it might have been that 31 of Spells that turned the 88 here. Comes down with a side draft on the 60 and just clobbers the 88. Not really much he could do about that one. And then behind them, everybody starts checking up. The 60 goes up into Eric O'Neill in the 37. Maybe a little net code. Nope, he gets through it, no problem. And we're going to pop the camera out a little wider here, and you'll see what happened behind him. Looks like the 05 of Cyrus just gets completely hard on the brakes and slides the car sideways. And Aaron Beaver in the back end of him. And then that got everybody else in a position to try to get around the crash, which they were able to. So 4 cars in total on the bottom of the track there, trying to get it gathered up. The 88 trying to stay out of everybody's way and not get ARCA braked. That worked out in his favor there. And we're going to back that up and we're going to watch here and see what happened. We'll watch on board Spells in that 31 car. Clint Spells here. As this is where it all happened. It looks like they're going here, going. He just gets sideways and right into the back end of the 88 from there. You see everybody starting to hit the brakes here. They stay out of each other's way, but it all goes sideways behind him. Everybody else did a good job of keeping out of that mess. But that's going to be a heartbreaker there for the 88. But don't count him out. It looks like it was slight contact there to West, but he's going to come down on pit road anyway and use a fast repair, his last one of the night. Perhaps, or maybe he just wants to see if there's anything wrong with the car. Not the night Wes wanted to have for the season opener, but man, he has been super fast here. And a lot of fun to watch, so we're keeping an eye on what's going on with him. And Ryan still out there holding his own, but Clint Spells in second. Kyle Carpenter in third. This is one to watch right here. Knows how to get the plate races taken care of at the end of it. Eric O'Neill had the pole coming into this thing right now in fourth. We're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back with more action. Trying to get things done here at Daytona. And welcome back to Daytona for the Daytona 250 by Thrustmaster. And right there you saw everybody getting side by side once again. There'll be green flag racing next time by, and we will be ready for that. But let's keep an eye on that 12 car of SIV Ryan out there holding his own tonight. Made a decision to do something a little different than others. Came down on pit road, had a bad stop, and he paid for it dearly, but then the caution came out. It worked out in his favor, starting second, and now he's been aggressive on these restarts and was able to maintain the lead since then. So watching that 12 car, but don't count out the 31 of Clint Spells trying to get his win, and a lot of guys behind them as well. So we've seen 3 wide racing earlier on in the race. We might see it again here on this restart. And the lights are off of the pace truck, so we'll be green flag racing once again as the 12 car will lead him down into the Geico restart zone for the next restart. Everybody, just anticipation in the air. Anxiety through the roof right here at the front of this pack. The pace truck down and away, almost to the Geico restart zone. Green flag back in the air. Ryan gets a great push there in the very beginning from the 77, and it's all around. Big crash behind him. Bearder, Jonathan Orndorff, just junk everywhere at the line. The 88, the 26, the pace truck through the center. The 05, the 20. And we're going to find out what just happened, because it was not good. This mess happens right here around Eric O'Neill, and I'm not really sure why he's sideways here. Get a better shot on it here. Back it up. Right here, you see Eric O'Neill just gets sideways. I think the 91 of Webb got in the back end of him, and it's got him squirrely enough. You can see right there's the hit. Drives the 37 into the 11 of Cleveland. Into the wall they go. And then just nowhere for anyone to go. Man, the 11 car of Cleveland gets up on the hood there of Guzman. And the pace truck does a coal trickle right through the middle with no problems. We saw the 88 got a piece of that. And let's right on board with one of those guys in the back and see what they saw during all this, because it was a absolute mess. Oh, and right there, you can see the 60 just net-coated right in front of him. Popped out of nowhere. There's just not really anything you can do there when you think about it. Let's come up here a little further in line where somebody else might have saw some more action here. Right on board with Beaver. There's the spin right there in the brakes into the 26. I keep it straight up right into the 11. So that wasn't Guzman we saw. That was actually the 97 of Beaver. That was the car underneath the 11. We'll watch this one more time. This time we're going to watch Eric O'Neill right at the line where everybody was. If I can find him. Here he is right here. And we're going to get the blimp cam on that one so we can see it in action here. You see the green flags in the air. And it looks like it's stemmed right there from the 31. I think maybe the 31 didn't get going or checked up a little bit right there where he gets into the brakes a little bit. And then the 91 got into him. And then around they went. Just a bad situation for all these drivers that were doing so good late in the run. The 87 of Charles Gray up in the mix. Hard crash right there. Gets spun. A lot of guys involved. Well, it's unfortunate, but we're going to rack them back up and stack them again. You know how it goes. Meanwhile, SIV Ryan really enjoying this. The view out front. As long as they keep wrecking behind him, he can win this thing. So things have shaken up quite a bit since those crashes. And we'll tell you who the top 10 is right now. You got Ryan, Carpenter, Spells, Gould, Johnston, Sargent, Ewing, then Tyler Thomas, Ryan Steinhoff, and Robert Bearder now your top 10. A lot of guys that were up there earlier on are now back in action again. 2x2, lights off on the base truck. Green flag next time by. Lap 92 complete. It'll be 93 on the restart at the Geico restart zone. It'll be down to the 12 car to try to get everybody rolling in one piece. And we're seeing that impatient flying, guys pushing on each other. And we saw earlier in those crashes in the opening of the race that was not a good idea to push on the back end of guys. It's still going to be something we're going to see later on. But remember that was disastrous. So hopefully these guys talked about that a little bit earlier on in the race and said, hey, you know what? We can't be pushing on each other. It's going to cause a crash. But I think we're going to see more aggressive pushing and side drafting here on this restart. So that's the 12 of Ryan out front in the 24/7 Chevy. And the 31 of Spells, Clint Spells in that Hooters Ford Taurus into the Geico restart zone. Green flag back in the air. Carpenter with help on the outside with the 14, giving him the push. The 31, no help. Watching right around Clint Spells. He gets to the back bumper of the 12, the 14, a little squirrely in the back of the 77. 2x2 behind them, then a huge gap back to Cleveland on the top. Sorry, that's not Cleveland. That's the 8 of Tyler Thomas. Very similar looking car. And look at this. We got Charles Gray up in the mix. In the 11th position. A little bit of fanning there, but here comes West the Mess in the middle. 3 wide. Still 3 wide, trying to get by Charles Gray. And the 4 Beard on the outside, still 3 wide. He knows it's time to go. They make contact with the 4. And around he goes. Hard crash. Caution comes out. There's 37 involved. That's that 3 wide aggression I was just talking about. And here it is. Once again, a lot of damage to that 88. Well, let's find out what happened here. We'll back it up. It was 3 wide action all the way through there, and you have to get aggressive on these restarts. Time's out, running out. And that's exactly what happened here. We see the 88 pushing through here, but I think he was going to be fine. The 4 came down on that 88 a little bit there. Yeah, you see he had the position right there, no problem. And he's staying behind. He's below that line, but yeah, the 4 Bearder comes down and just clips him. So he did a good job of trying to keep that car straight. Not much you can do in that position right there, but kind of hang on. And then around he went. So yeah, looking at that replay, it looks like the 88 was fine. Had a good line there in the 3 wide, but the 4 Bearder came down and just snapped him around. And that's the damage right there. But the 88 can come down pit road and get that fixed. And still have a shot at this if we have a lot of restarts, as we have seen quite a few of those here tonight. Well, that's the 88 on pit road trying to get it fixed. He's going to use a fast repair right there. The last one that he has down and away. As iRacing tries to chug along here and get us going very terribly, might I add. Freezing up everything there. And looks like we have a couple cars on pit road. That's the 13 of Jeff Spells that's parked, and then you have the 16 of Ben Tuttle. Well, we're back under back under caution. Will be green flag racing next time by. Nope, looks like it's going to be 2 to go next time by. So, not this time, but next. We'll have the lights on the pace truck. Off on the pace truck. So, we're going to take another break. And welcome back to Daytona. We're just about to get things back underway with some green flag racing. 1 to go. The lights are off on the pace truck. 2x2 off of turn number 2 on the backstretch after a crash that brought out the yellow. 3 wide. Bearder came down into the 88 of Wes Graham, spun him around in front of the field. And that's going to be the 12 car of Ryan, SIV Ryan out front, maintaining the lead right now. Behind him, you're going to have the 14 of Gould. Or sorry, that's Johnston in the 21. Behind him is the 14 of Gould, another red car. On the outside lane, you have the 31 of Clint Spells, been up front all day for the most part. The 77 of Carpenter and Andrew Ewing up in the mix in that 15 car. And then you got the 48 of Sargent. And Ryan Steinhoff up there as well in position 8. The 12 car will be the restart zone car here in a few seconds. Waiting for the pace truck to go down and away, and there it goes. Green flag back in the air. Ryan with a good jump there. The 31 of Spells going to try to squeeze in on the 21. It's going to work out for now. The 77 thinking about doing the same thing here, but he's going to stay to the outside of Johnston, the 21. 2x2, Ewing at the outside of the 14 of Gould. The 77 not getting too much help from the 15 right now. The bottom lane is the preferred line. The 31's got to be patient here and not turn the 12. We saw him getting very close to his back bumper, and now we're seeing a little bit of contact there. The 77 on the outside as well, getting some help from the 15. Charles Gray in the mix as well, behind the 74 of Steinhoff. Steinhoff on the outside of the 14. And that's going to bring him back around to the stripe at full speed. 2x2 as far back as you can see. Ryan Potter in the middle, back there, making 3 wide, and there's contact at the front. 77 to Carpenter, big crash. And the tri-oval. Carpenter, a lot of damage. The 67 of Fodoro involved. Some other ones as well, but that's a lot of damage to that particular car, the 77. And what a shame that is for Kyle Carpenter, what an incredible run he's had all night. And gets caught up in that mess right there. He does have 2 fast repairs, so he can make that happen for him. But time is out. We're going to be in overtime with some green-white checker action here very shortly. But let's back it up and let's see what exactly just transpired right around that 77 car. Because it happened quick. Looks like the 31 of Spells came up and knocked into him from this angle right here. Yep. Moves up, gets into 77. Hard crash in the outside. It comes down into the 15 of Ewing. Barely gets by. He's able to hang on to it there for a little bit, but then he gets really smoked by these guys right here. And then it was just all out mayhem from there. Back it up, yeah, because that was very close to the 12 of Ryan. He could have gotten a little bit of that whole thing. We'll watch from the blimp camera here on this restart. Here they are in the restart. Sorry, they're not in the restart. This is one lap after the restart. And you don't get a good shot right there, do you? You certainly don't. Let's try getting a different camera. Yeah, the 31 just comes up in the 77. And you see the 31 pushing on the back of the 12, and I'm sure the 12 did not want that happening. And then it was all crazy from there. The back end of the 77 of Carpenter got into the right rear of Charles Gray in the 87 Reese's Chevy, and that was enough to spin him up into the outside wall. The 88, West trying to avoid by going down the service road almost into turn number 1 of the Daytona road course. But Carpenter gets the car fixed. He's going to be back underway. And now things are heating up. He's going to try to stay on the lead lap here. And he'll have no problem doing that. Ryan, Spells, Johnston, Ewing, Gould, Steinhoff, Sargent, Thomas. And then from behind them, Ryan Potter, Jason Lance, rounding out your top 10. That'll be the 20 car getting his lap back. 20 car of Jonathan Orndorff. In the Home Depot 20 Chevy this year. Or sorry, this season. Had an up and down day for sure. Started 24th, been up to 3rd. And right now scored 21st, getting his lap back. This will put him back on the lead lap. The first car down a lap now will be Kyle Cleveland in that 11 car. And then Leonard Fodoro, Eric O'Neill. So those guys will be fighting for the lucky dog if it were to strike again. Lights are on the pace truck right now. I'm going to give my voice a rest. We'll be right back with more action. And welcome back for some green-white checker action as the 12 car is going to have to fight for his life here on this next restart. Lap 102 of 104 was supposed to be 100 laps, but now we are going to set them back up again and try again for the green-white checker. Ryan putting on an incredible show tonight, making the right moves when it mattered, and he's still in the front right now as the control car on this restart. That's Clint Spells on the outside in that Taurus. Pace truck's down and away. Let's try to end this thing here. Clean, folks. Green flag back in the air. Ryan keeping an eye on his mirror. He's going to have to mirror drive a little bit here and jump back to the outside. Johnston to the bottom. That's the 31 of Clint Spells coming down for that side draft. The 14 of Gould behind him, pushing on the 21. The 31 with a side draft to the 12. It's working as of right now. Here comes Ewing on the outside. Now the 74 of Ryan Steinhoff in the mix. 2x2. Ran at the bottom right now. It's staying where he needs to be. Getting the push from the 21 of Johnston. Johnston having help with the 14 still. It's about a half back from the 14 to the 48 of Sargent. Almost a crash in the back right there. It's Carpenter making a big move. Now Potter going to jump to the outside of the 8. Sorry, with the 8 there. The 12 to the bottom. And now the 15 of Ewing giving that shot to the 31. Almost gives him a little bit of a tag, but the 12 still hanging on there. White flag in the air. Sponsored by Thrustmaster. And he gets turned. Spells turns the 12. Big crash. Johnston to the front. Huge junk behind him. The next flag will end the race. And it's going to be Johnston that's going to get the win here at Daytona. We believe. A lot of damaged race cars. No caution. But Johnston, when it counted, it counted. Or they might still be going here. I'm not really sure. Something is screwed up. Okay, no. Okay. They're just driving very, very, very quickly there, and I didn't have the trigger for the finish. That's what it was. The 88 of Wes Graham giving a bump to the 21 of Johnston, saying, good job, man. Nicely done. That is plate racing for you right there. We'll find out what happened in the end. Cleveland gives him a tag and wrecks himself, but here he comes now. That'll be the 21 of Johnston. Going to burn it down at the line. What a great job by that young man right there. Started 19th and makes the final move when it counted to get around that crash. Johnston gets the win. And I don't know what's going on here. We have the 74 just parked here. And we'll get your race results here before too long, but we do have to go back and watch what happened there at the end. Which is very unfortunate for the 12 of SIV Ryan, as he got spun by what it looked like was that 31 of Spells. Right here's where it happened, and the only way we can really see it is right here in the blimp. It's that white flag. Everybody's going for it here. You see the 31 aggressively side drafting that 21 of Johnston here, and that's all it took for him to get down into the 12 and takes them all out of contention for the race win. Johnston just scathed by barely. And West did too. The 15 of Ewing went for a wild ride there. We're going to watch that right here. He was up in the mix of where it all went down. I got to find him right here. And if you watch right here, he goes for a violent ride here. 12 gets spun right in front of the field. There's the contact right there. And this is enough for the 15 to come down into the bottom lane and tries to gather it back up. But he gets spun around, and he goes for a wild ride right here. There's a 74. Roof flaps aren't coming up on that car quite quick enough. Into the wall he goes, and he gets spun right here enough. Somebody hits him, and he just really goes for a flight. Emotions might be running high right now, but remember, this is plate racing. This is part of it. This is what happens. Right there, the 67 just gets into the 15 and sends him for a ride into the catch fence. One heck of a crash right there. We'll back it up a little bit more here, and you're going to see. We're going to ride on board with Ryan in real time. And then we're going to watch it from Clint Spells and see what he saw. We'll back it up again, and we're going to ride on board Johnston, our winner, and what he saw right through here. And it almost looks like they made contact right here. That's where Spells comes down on his nose. The 12 comes up just a little bit. That's just plate racing. As much as it sucks, that is plate racing. That's what happens. And the crash behind him just completely unfolds. Great job by Nick Sargent hanging on to it by not getting in that wreck. But yeah, when it counted, and that was indeed Austin Johnston, which we'll get to your drivers meeting. We're going to get some interviews done here really shortly. We just had to really go over that whole thing. Trying to back it up here for you guys so we can get your race results here to you. All right, let's see those race results. Here they are right here. Austin Johnston, Nick Gould, Wes Graham gets third, Nick Sargent, Mitchell Calvin, Ryan Potter, Ryan Steinhoff, Clayton Cyrus, Clint Spells, and Alex Reno rounding out the top 10 for the season opener at Daytona. 11th to Kyle Carpenter, Aaron Beaver, Joe Ogle, Robert Webb, Tyler Schultz, Robert Bearder, Andrew Ewing, Jonathan Orendorf, Jason Lance, Tyler Thomas, SIV Ryan, Kyle Cleveland, Leonard Fodoro, Eric O'Neill, Charles Gray, Joel Brown, Zach Guzman. Then we have Mason Pepper, Gage Bookman, Jeffrey Spells, Ben Tuttle, Brandon Buggs, rounding out 32 total drivers here tonight. Let's go ahead and get over there and talk to them.
Kill people's eardrums.
All right. Well, I do want to catch up to Johnston. Johnston, congratulations on the win. Give us a little bit of insight of just how crazy that last lap was on the green-white checker.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. The restart before I'd screwed up trying to stay close to Ryan, because just trying to stay as close as I can without pushing them, and jumped a little bit too soon and pushed him out, and 31 got in front of us. So on that last restart, I was just trying not to do that. And man, going down the back stretch, I was really close to him, and I hope I didn't spin him. If I was the one that spun him, that's not how I want to win, and I'm sorry, but I was just kind of giving it all I could, trying to win. So trying to do what I got to do.
Well, congratulations on the win. It is a win. It's plate racing. We watched it over and over again, the ending there, and it just looked like plate racing no matter how you spun it. But congratulations. Started 19th, and you were there when it counted. And tell us a little bit about that change-up that happened when you guys decided to come down pit road. You and Steinhoff were on a total different set of or a different strategy than everybody else. How'd that play out?
Well, we had kept pitting pretty much every time there was a caution. We were pitting to stay in the back to kind of miss everything. So we got that long run and were able to stay out longer than everybody else, obviously. Coming into the pits, I missed my box by like 2 inches, so I had to back up, and which caused a huge gap between us. But yeah, just trying to stay in the back and ended up putting us on a completely different strategy.
Well, with this being a plate race and things are kind of, a roll of the dice, what does this do for you as a driver in getting a win in OCRP and then moving forward with that season?
Man, it's exciting. Definitely going to help with some confidence going to North Wilkesboro. I'm not very good at short tracks, but it's going to help my confidence quite a bit. I, for some reason, like plate racing a lot, and I usually think I can find myself in the right position, but it never usually works out. But it's going to help the confidence a lot.
Well, congratulations definitely are in order for you. A big win right there, even if it is plate racing. Hey, a win's a win. You take it where you can get it. Next driver I do want to talk to, and I know it's a salty, heartbreaking, terrible thing, but man, what a hell of a night you had. Going from the booth to behind the wheel. Ryan, tell us about the last lap and what you saw.
Man, it was a fun race. Yeah, I was just trying to save fuel, make it to the end through the Green-white-checkers, and I'm just really bummed is all I can say. I really wanted that win. I've never won an oval, and I really wanted it really bad, but Daytona, plate racing, not sure what happened, but it is what it is, and it's fake racing, and I'm in my underwear, so we'll move on, and winning a race ain't gonna get me a girlfriend, so I'm already over it, but congrats, Austin, on the win, buddy. But I'm looking forward to some more racing with you boys. Looking forward to Monday nights. Those skippies were a blast, and these ARCA cars are phenomenal. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the season, guys.
There you go. Ryan will unfortunately not get the position at the end that he was hoping for, but a heartbreaker for sure. But man, what great racing, and just a lot of fun to watch your race tonight. We'll talk to the driver that was up there in the mix pretty much all night, gets a top 10, Clint Spells. You had speed early on. You got aggressive. I was kind of calling you the Ricky Stenhouse with some of your moves out there, but tell us what you saw in that final crash.
Like I said, first off, congrats to Austin on that win you got. Like I said, not real sure, but early on, the aggressive stuff was trying to run the middle line, and nobody would line up to do the pull on the middle line. Everybody's running wall. That's why we went 3 wide there early on in the race. But like I said, last me just trying to tuck up close to break air and try to get a pull, and not really sure what happened there on the, coming to the white flag or checker flag, whatever it was.
Have you had a chance to see the replay yet?
No, I did look over there and see the chat, so I guess I could be domed as the Chastain of the league. So,
well, it's fake racing. It's all for fun, and man, one heck of a show. I mean, it was a lot of fun to watch you make the moves that you did, and it worked in your favor. I mean, you were up front all the rest of the race. So, no, we watched it back over and over again. It was 100% a plate racing incident. It was just kind of everybody just moving into each other, and a wreck ensued from there. So, I wouldn't take it too to heart on that one. I do want to get some more drivers here real quick before we get out of here and let you guys get your drivers meeting on its way. One of those drivers, the last season's champion, Wes, you had one heck of a night, got caught up in some crashes, got back up there in the front. Tell us about your night, but hey, you end up in third.
Yeah, I hit everything but the pace car. So, could have cleaned out the bingo card. I don't know, man. Coming into Daytona, you always know it's going to be a roll of the dice, and you're just gonna have to have some luck. Thankfully, we had the luck when it counted there on that last incident on the white flag. Was trying to work with Ryan there and got the rear end lifted up out from underneath of me going into one, and had the big old wreck there. And after had that incident going 3 wide, less than 10 laps to go. I mean, it's go time. there was plenty, I don't know. It's all plate racing, dude. I kind of came into this, thinking I was going to burn my drop week and ended up coming out with a third. So I guess I need to go shine that horseshoe up a little bit more and, continue on. Very looking forward to North Wilkesboro. We can actually, get a little bit of short track racing in. We got, 3 short tracks on the schedule that we haven't and have been to. They're different than Bristol, Martinsville. So sick of going to those. So sick of all of the tracks we're going to. We got some new ones on the schedule for this season. Some of the ones that we don't go to anymore. So very looking forward to the next 12 weeks. Congrats to Johnston on the win. That first one always feels real good, and you always remember it. So I hope he burned it down and blew the engine out of it before he decided to come over here. But on to next week. Appreciate everybody out there. One thing that I'm really tired of is every time somebody touches Bugs or Ryan or Jeff or anybody, everybody gets their torches and pitchforks. So, here's a call to everybody. I've nixed that stuff in my stream. You can go to any other Twitch stream on the platform and talk as much crap as you want to about whatever driver you want, but you're not going to do it in my stream. And that's that.
There you had it. You heard it from the man right there. Gets a 3rd place finish after starting 21st. Nothing to scoff about. Last person I want to talk to is Nick Gould. Nick, everything opened up right there at the end. Is there anything you could have done to get around Johnston? You just kind of got lucky there at the end.
Yeah, at the end, what a blast, the whole race, honestly. I mean, I tried to keep up through that top 10 and just watch the mess kind of unfold in front of me and hopefully put myself in the right spot at the right time. Luckily, it came through. I got lucky there at the end. I got into Nick Sargent and got loose, and then he got loose. Luckily, he saved it. That was the most impressive thing I've ever seen in my mirror, honestly. But other than that, I had no chance of catching Austin. He was about half the speedway in front of me. I was going so slow, there was no chance. But luckily, the seas parted on that white lap, and I came home with a podium.
There you have it. Started 15th, ends up in 2nd. We're going to let you guys get to your drivers meeting. Thank you for everything. It was a blast to watch, that is for certain. And we'll see you at North Wilkesboro.
Thanks for broadcast.
You're welcome. All right, well, there you go. We heard it from the drivers. A little bit of salt, not a whole lot. You heard from drivers that were just bummed, getting involved in that last lap crash, but we watched it every which way we possibly could, and I'm going to tell you my final thoughts on it is that is textbook plate racing. Everybody's going for it. We saw Spells come down. We saw Ryan barely move up into Spells. We saw Johnston right there in the mix. They were all touching all 3 of those cars. It could have been anybody that could have got caught up in that wreck there, but everybody owning up to it and talking about it, and they're all in good spirits, so we will be too. That's going to do it for me tonight. Rolling solo dolo tonight. Thank you for being patient as my voice held in there a lot better than I thought it would, but we will be back with action. And I got to say, for those of you that are normally here on Twitch, thank you so much for hanging in there. Had a lot of interruptions with the internet. Hopefully things are squared away now. Everything was solid tonight. So we'll be back tomorrow. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good night. Stand by for raid.